Hi, folks. You're with Tacitus today. Tacitus today, your pushback channel, and thank you for joining this audio live stream. There's another fantasy bullshit made up story doing the rounds in Australia at the moment about a supposed female Indian from India, Indian school teacher. I think she arrived when she was sort of either in primary school or early high school age in Australia, but she's gone on to be a school teacher, and she's a senior high school teacher, and she's gone to, I wouldn't call it the richest area in Australia, but certainly an upmarket area in Australia that's pretty much 99% white, and as far as I understand, equal numbers of boys and girls in the class and this sort of thing. But so she writes about what a tough time she's having now to get posted to a school, senior high school, no less, in a fairly upmarket area, with decently expensive real estate and a very low crime area. The crime rates in this area are very low, so it's a prestigious posting. Why wouldn't you want, if you're a school teacher, that's like, wow, I want that. You don't want the area, the part of the city that's down at heel, where there's crime rates are off the charts, where the students are unruly, and you've got a pretty decent chance of being assaulted and all that sort of thing in the class. But a lot of the children will be from parts of the world, whether they be Islamic or whatever, parts of the world where women that would never get a job anywhere in anything in their societies, and so they're viewed as teachers. They're not seen by those sort of people as being legitimate teachers at all. So you wouldn't want to go to those areas. You would want to go to the upmarket area. So this Indian chick's got probably the most prized school, high school posting gig you could possibly get, aside from upmarket private schools in very rich areas. Nonetheless, what's her experience? She perceives, or supposedly perceives it, and she's being held up as a poster chick for brown women, and she's discovering and she's peeling back the layers to show racism, misogyny, Nazis, fascism, Hitler swastikas. She's peeling back. She's showing us, because we don't know that the world is awash with Nazis. So they go into the teacher's sort of lunchroom or common room, whatever, and how did so many misogyny is everywhere, evil, fucking those boys, they're so evil. And she's in an all-white area, funnily enough. So now let's just sort of have a look at this misogyny, this fucking Nazis, Hitler, I tell you, in an area where the crime rate is about 1/10 of the average. So the crime rate in this area is about 1/10 of the average. People are very law-abiding and very well-behaved. But somehow, in this very law-abiding, very well-behaved area, the place is rampant with fucking Nazis. They're fucking everywhere. Fucking misogynists. Fuck me, I say. Now, how can the two be married together? Why is it that in the very high crime rate areas, where assault and robbery and car theft and rape and this and that are just off the charts, why is there no misogyny there? Why is the misogyny, according to this, only in the white areas? Only in the white areas, for fuck's sake, where the crime rate is incredibly low. So somehow that just doesn't gel, does it? Why in a very low crime area do you have these incredibly, according to this Indian chick, racism, misogyny is off the charts? How are they defining racism and misogyny exactly? And why is it that none of the girls are misbehaving? It's only the white boys that are displaying this misogyny. Now, what are these examples of misogyny? What's the definition, firstly? And then what are the examples? Well, that's sort of waffled away. That they just take it from me, they're all misogynist, Nazi, fascist, Hitler. That's just how it is. And we have to correct that. We must correct that. So again, let's just sort of have a look at this after 25 plus years of very feminist focused education, and with all manner of traveling road shows telling boys that they're all a bunch of evil Nazi, fascist, rapists, Hitlers, and endless fucking indoctrination, whether it be in the literature, through the teachers, and that it's somehow the supposed misogyny and racism only gets worse. It only ever gets worse year after year. It just gets worse and worse. And the more and more money, the more and more courses, the more and more propaganda videos they're showing. Somehow it only ever gets worse. Never improves. Only gets worse, and gets worse by substantial margin. I mean, wow! I'd be looking at, hey, we're spending a lot of money here and achieving absolutely nothing. So are they inventing the issue? Are they saying it exists when it doesn't? Are they defining, looking sideways on a Sunday as being an act of extreme misogyny? What's going on here? Because nothing seems to add up. Only white boys and very low crime, very well behaved, not neat, tree lines. only they are misogynist Nazis. I mean, what? Yeah, obviously the proposition is quite absurd. But this chick gets the poster status because she's not only brown and female, but she's piling all sorts of shit on white boys. Now, I don't know. My experience. I went to senior high school in quite an upmarket area, which would be the equivalent of the area that this Indian teaches in, and I don't know how you would define misogyny, but it's not something I recall. And in the teaching, I remember certainly exposure to female teachers in kindergarten. All the teachers were female. In primary school, up until fourth or fifth year of primary school, they were all, pretty much. I remember the headmaster at one primary school I was at, that was a man. But the principal, the headmistress at other primary schools, they were all women. There was a couple of temp teachers came for a short time in some of those primary schools. So I went to a few. But pretty much it was 99% women in the primary school. And in high school, it was majority female. There were things like metalwork, woodwork. The technical subjects were all men, but the other subjects were all women. And so there was a majority women there right through until senior high school. Then men were the majority, not by a wide margin. So in terms of certainly and this was pre the feminist madness. In my experience, all teachers were women. I mean, that was just what I was used to. I didn't question it or think it odd. I don't recall them being treated any differently from male teachers. Male teachers used to give the cane back in the day, so there was a difference there. There was also some female teachers get all girly. I'll send you to see Mr. Smith if you're rude to me again. So there was some of that. They didn't realise they were undermining their own authority by doing that. And there were some of those. There was a hot little teacher in I think first or second year high school, and the deputy principal was screwing her, and so you couldn't be rude to her, or he'd cane the crap out of you. There were those sorts of things. But otherwise, I don't recall this racism and misogyny that she's uniquely referring to. And the reference is, how did all these boys become misogynists? How did they do it? In a feminist, very feminized education system, being exposed almost exclusively to female teachers in a very low crime, well-behaved area, and yet they're all misogynist. That just simply can't be true. So what we're looking at, this is just a pure propaganda campaign along the lines of that adolescence propaganda, hysterical fucking bullshit in Britain, where the real problem is white boys from good, intact, middle-class families. They're the problem. Or the insanity of that assertion. And really, this latest gig is following on in that sort of similar vein. Is the problem the imported Muslim boys that really are engaging in nuclear levels of misogyny? Nah, they're not the problem, and they're brown anyway, so we can't say that. It's the fucking white boys. Oh, so it's the white working class boys in the more wretched areas where crime rates are. No. It's the good middle class boys, the well-behaved middle class boys in low crime areas. They're the problem. Yeah, sure they are. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel. Thank you for listening.